This is the CitizenLink report.
If you find our insights helpful, would you support our video efforts? $500 buys an hour of studio time. And we usually don't use a whole hour, but it covers the crew, lights, cameras, all that. That means your gift of $25 or more goes a long ways. Just click on donate. Thanks from all of us. These 9 people decide the most important legal cases. They're not elected, but you elect the people who put them on the court. This is the CitizenLink report. I'm Stuart Shepard, along with Bruce Hausknecht, who watches judges and the courts for us. Hi, Bruce.
Hi, Stuart.
We're going to talk about the Supreme Court here in a moment, but first, I just want to let everybody know we will be doing a live election night webcast. You can find it on CitizenLink.com. We'll be producing it right here on our very spiffy set. It'll start at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, and since it's live, you have to subtract from that for all your time zones, but we'll have guests from all over the country and talk about the results of Election Day. So remember, Election Night starting at 9 p.m. Eastern. Bruce, let's talk about what's going on at the Supreme Court. They have a big session ahead which will hit some of the issues we care about. Some we know they will, some we're not so sure yet. Right. First, let's talk about marriage. What will they be considering?
Right. Well, this is not for sure at the moment, but right now the Supreme Court is being asked to consider numerous marriage cases. There are about 5 Defense of Marriage Act challenges right in the hopper now that the Supreme Court will tell us shortly whether they're going to accept or not. And those are basically challenges to the federal definition of marriage for the purpose of all federal laws like Social Security and any type of federal benefit. We also have the Prop 8, the California Marriage Amendment, coming from California via the Ninth Circuit. And they declared that the state marriage amendment is unconstitutional under the United States Constitution. And the Supreme Court's being asked to take that as well.
We've been saying for a long time that ultimately the courts are going to decide the future of marriage for this country. We're watching that happen.
This session, this term of the court could be the most important that we have seen since Roe versus Wade in 1973.
All right. And they're also dealing with some cases, perhaps, we don't know yet, on health care. Let's talk about that.
Well, yeah, there are still health care cases out there. In fact, we have over 37 challenges to the HHS mandate having to do with contraceptives that could possibly cause an abortion, and employers not wanting to provide that because it violates their conscience rights. So those challenges have been dismissed in a few courts, and those dismissals will be appealed up through the Circuit Court of Appeals and could possibly get to the Supreme Court on technical issues like do they have standing, do they have the right to bring the lawsuit. Those could get to the Supreme Court perhaps by next year.
Yeah, and some of these have been put on hold for a while. They've been put on ice until the healthcare law starts to take more effect than it already has.
And that's right. That's why we have so many of these lawsuits with so many different outcomes. It depends whether they're a religious nonprofit or whether they're a for-profit secular business. So we've seen some very different results. You still have a challenge to the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, from Liberty University that the Supreme Court is right now kind of asking the Solicitor General of the United States to weigh in because there are several claims there for the religious conscience of that employer with regard to the abortion funding that's inherent in Obamacare. And that was never actually decided. We had this big decision last summer on Obamacare, the individual mandate, but that particular claim from Liberty University was never decided. So Supreme Court is saying, or asking the Solicitor General to say, you know, there's still these issues. Should we take that case again, or should we kick it back down to the Fourth Circuit, or what have you? So another big case.
Let's talk just a bit about the mechanics of the court. You just mentioned the Solicitor General. Who is that?
Yeah, he's the top lawyer for the United States that represents the United States before the Supreme Court. And he's usually involved in, he or she is usually involved in arguing any case that involves the United States. Any case that involves a challenge to a federal statute or a constitutional provision, and they generally look after the legal interests of the United States.
Okay, let's talk about the court. 9 people, and we need to point out, we often talk about the court and how it's going to go this way or that way, and it's often a 5-4 split and that sort of thing. But there's a very important thing about the court, and that is these are lifetime appointments.
Right.
They're not elected to these offices, and all of that is by the design of the founders of the country. They wanted this particular body to be separate from the political process.
Yeah, it's ingenious the way the founders designed this with all the checks and balances involved. The judges are appointed for life, so that they can't be influenced by the day-to-day politics and threatened with being fired for bad decisions. And
although we'd like to do that on occasion.
we certainly would. And the people that appoint them are elected by the people, and the check and balance against those types of bad appointments are elections. So the people that appoint and advise and consent to those appointments, they're all elected by you and I.
And the two parts of government that come into play there, one is the president, the White House. Whomever is there is the person who appoints nominees to be on the Supreme Court. Right. But another important factor in this is the Senate.
The Senate, yeah, their duty is to provide advice and consent. And the president can nominate, but unless the Senate consents to that appointment, it doesn't happen. And so, you know, the Senate is in charge of that piece of the check and balance that the Constitution provides for the Supreme Court.
Yeah. Why is it so important for the Supreme Court to be separated out like that, to be put at arm's length, if you will, or one step beyond the will of the people? Mm-hmm.
It's the genius of the founders again in creating the separation of powers, which has three branches of government. Each operates independently. Each cannot really impinge on the efforts of another except through the checks and balances that are provided through the Constitution, whether it's through appointments or elections or impeachment or what have you. There are strictly separate branches of the government, and that is to allow for, I guess, enough infighting between the branches of government to keep them all honest.
It's supposed to keep everything slowed down, and that's exactly what it does.
Right.
All right. Well, Bruce, thank you for those insights. Hey, we have something else we want to let you know about. If you're trying to figure out how to vote with insight and wisdom and clarity as you move toward Election Day, we want to point you to CitizenLinkVoter.com. It's a website we've set up that has voter guides from many of the states that will let you know where candidates stand on the various positions, whether it's life or marriage or religious freedom, and also has just some general scorecards for those who've been in office about how they voted in the past, so that you can get an idea who these folks are that you're casting a ballot for. Again, that's CitizenLinkVoter.com. Thank you for watching. You may always write to us at mail@CitizenLink.com. We do appreciate your insights, your comments, your criticisms. We do read every message that comes in. We enjoy some more than others, but we do appreciate hearing from you, and we can't respond to all of them, but we do read everything that comes in. We encourage you to pray for our country as we move toward Election Day. Pray for that wisdom, clarity, and insight for everyone as they make a decision about who shall lead. And remember, stand tall and be heard.